All right, welcome back to our third and final selection from our lecture here on World War One. So we're going to talk about how does this war play out. So as I mentioned before, there's two fronts here. There's the Western Front between Belgium, France, and Germany, and then there's the Eastern Front between Austria-Hungary and Russia. So Germany is in this really disadvantageous position. I mean, they have to fight a war on two fronts, and that makes it really difficult for them. So this is going to change though. In 1917, we have the pivotal year of the war. So these sides have been fighting for 3 years now. It's a long, drawn-out battle, which has been, for the most part, been fought to a stalemate. In 1917, though, we have a big change. Russia is going to have a communist revolution. The Tsar is going to be overthrown, and Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks are going to take over and set up a new communist government in Russia. And their first thing they do is they pull Russia out of the war. They sign a peace treaty, which they give up a really big chunk of land to Germany in order to get out of this war, because they want to focus on creating their workers' utopia in Russia. And they've already lost like 5 million guys in the war already, so they are ready to be done. So this means that Germany can shift all of its troops over to the Western Front. So this looks like Germany is going to have the advantage. They're going to launch this huge invasion to try to break through the lines. But another thing happens in 1917 as well, and what we have is the United States. It's been staying on the sidelines. It's been neutral in this war for the most part. This nation is now going to become involved in World War I, and this is going to help tip the scales to the Allied side. Now, the United States gets into this war for two reasons. First of all, the Germans had been resuming unrestricted submarine warfare. The United States had been sending supplies to Great Britain, France, and the Germans had basically threatened to sink ships, any ships that were helping their enemy. And so, as a result of the threat to this, and also the sinking of the British ship Lusitania that had some Americans on board, the United States is going to become very upset. Also, there's a secret telegram called the Zimmermann telegram, which is discovered, in which the Prime Minister of Germany is writing to Mexico and urging them to invade the United States. And if they do this after the war is won, Mexico will be restored the territories that it lost in the Mexican-American War, so California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, etc. Now, these things, of course, are going to infuriate the United States and cause this nation, which had been the sort of reluctant colossus, as it's called at the time, to come into this conflict. And what we have is 4 million fresh American troops coming into Europe, and they're going to supplement the British and French forces, and really they're just going to overwhelm the German numbers. And so in 1918, Germany is going to surrender. We have the signing of the armistice, which brings an end to the Great War. So the war is over, but you still need to dictate the terms of the peace. And the goal is to prevent a conflict of this scale from ever breaking out in Europe again. So the peace conference is going to take place in Paris in 1918. And leaders from all the major, players in the winning side are going to be there. The big ones are Woodrow Wilson, President of the United States, David Lloyd George, Prime Minister of Great Britain, and George Clemenceau, the Prime Minister of France. These are the three men that are really going to, in a way, decide the fate of the world for the next 100 years. They're going to meet at the Palace of Versailles, this famous mansion built by Louis XV outside of Paris. Yes, very, I think would call this a very muted interior here, I would say. Very minimalist. So Wilson comes to this meeting in Versailles with a plan he calls the 14 points plan. And basically he has all these ideas for trying to target the main causes of World War I, to target the issues that led to war. He also says that we should create some sort of a geopolitical organization in which nations can use diplomacy, can use discussion in order to solve their conflicts rather than resulting in war. And that's going to be called the League of Nations. So this reflects Wilson's idealism. while the Treaty of Versailles is passed, the United States actually will not ratify it. Although the president has the ability to negotiate treaties, the Senate has to ratify them in order for them to come into fruition. So the Senate, who really has a bunch of kind of isolationist hardliners that don't want the United States to get involved in Europe's troubles anymore. They decide not to ratify the Treaty of Versailles and also do not join this League of Nations. So it's going to end up being a pretty weak organization without that membership. So at the Treaty of Versailles meeting in Paris, Britain and France, having suffered major damage, especially France, by Germany, they really want to come and punish Germany. They want to make Germany accept blame, all the blame, for starting the war. And they want Germany to pay them for the damages that have been done to their nations. They want them to pay huge war reparations. And they also want to make sure that Germany can never threaten them again by reducing their military and navy. So let's talk about what some of the consequences are as a result of World War I. So the old empires are going to be broken up. If we look at the map on the left there, that's Europe before before World War I, and then Europe after. So Germany has been reduced in territory. The area that was part of Russia and Germany that had been given to Germany as a result of Russia pulling out of the war are going to become new independent countries like Poland, Lithuania, etc. The Austro-Hungarian Empire is going to be broken up into smaller countries: Czechoslovakia, Austria-Hungary, Yugoslavia, etc. So we have some new countries come into existence. The colonies that the Ottoman Empire and also that that Germany controlled, they're going to be given to France and Britain and Belgium, to the Allied powers. So they're going to become their colonies in Africa. Parts of the old Ottoman Empire are going to be put under the administration of Britain and France as well. So as a result of this war, we're going to have this new, map, as we'll see, of Europe. And as a result of the very harsh punishment that's leveled on Germany, as we'll talk about, we're going to, see another war break out very quickly after World War I. And we're going to catch up on that when we talk next week. All right. Good luck, everyone. Make sure you get your assignment done as well and do the 10-point quiz on Canvas. And we'll be talking about World War II next week.